Hello, hello. Good morning and happy Sunday. It is so good to see each and every one of you. It's so good to be here with each and every one of you as we gather as a community to celebrate the magnificence of God in, through, and as us, to celebrate the significance of God in, through, and as us, and do this as one family. Let us begin as we always do with prayer. And this morning, our prayer champion, Vanessa, will lead us in prayer.
Good morning, Celebration Spiritual Center. Let's get settled in with a collective breath. Breathing in and out. And again, inhaling peace. And exhaling into the present. I am here now, knowing one mind, power, and presence. Divine Creator, Holy Spark, Mother, Father, God, operating in and as everything. The law that is every certainty of this life, making this world what it is from day to day, supplying, supporting, expanding, and expressing. This life that is holy and mine, that inhabits every cell, function, heartbeat, and breath, that animates that which I recognize as me, that which I recognize as every person I am blessed to know and interact with. And I know that because I'm created by the Creator, I am prosperous, I am worthy, I have a purpose, and I am perfectly equipped to live the very best of the love and light that I was created to express. I know that I am created in a wholeness that is self-sustaining and never betrays itself. So I let go of the fear, doubt, and worry. I stop looking for the problem or waiting for the other shoe to drop because life never betrays me. And I will no longer betray myself with limiting beliefs or expectations. This good life, it is welcome in me. And so here and now, I am free to know well-being, success, peace, joy, unlimited potential. I expect the good. I trust in kindness and consideration. I rely on the word of God. I heed to the divine pull, inviting me into deeper reflection and expanded action. I am safe to be fully present in my body, mind, and spirit, in my relationships, in my giving and receiving. And I'm easily giving of myself to this experience this morning of the Celebration Spiritual Center service. I know that the music and message of the day will reach me exactly in the ways I need it to. And I invite the questions that come up in me to be answered and to be supported by spiritual tools. I believe that the light I feel is real, and it brightens and sustains me through this day, this week, and the life that I give to it. From here, I release this prayer, knowing my word returns to me validated, manifested in any number of blessings and reflections, knowing it does the same work and miracle for every loved one coming to mind and heart now. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, for a life that is good, for a truth that is constant and unchanging. Thank you for a community that I can learn and love and grow with. Thank you for the good feeling that is coursing through me here and now, and for the beautiful experience of today's service as we all move forward in the peace and power of Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
Yes, yes. Amen. Ashe, and so it is. Thank you, Nessa, for that powerful prayer. Thank you for opening us and grounding us and setting the tone for us to move forward in this powerful service. Well, good morning again to each and every one of you. So good to see you. So good to be here with you. And we want to, of course, shout out our first-time guests. If you are joining us for the very first time, hello, welcome. It's so good to see you. It's so good to have you. Thank you for choosing to stream with us on this morning or on this day, whatever time you find yourself accessing this stream. Now, we would love to stay in touch with you. We have lots of information that we send out, and of course, keeping folks posted on what's going on at CSC. And if you would like to stay in touch with us, it's very easy to join our mailing list. You just need to text the word welcome to this number you see here on your screen, 347-472-1078. And this will get you access to our digital connection card. Now, just text the word welcome. If you add anything else to it, it won't work. You text the word welcome, you'll receive an automated response with a link. That link takes you to our digital connection card. Complete the information there on that page, submit it. Once you've successfully submitted your information, you'll receive another text back that says you're all set, and indeed you are all set. And you'll be on our mailing list. You'll get our weekly email that goes out on Fridays and any other correspondence. But more importantly, again, we are so happy to have you. We see you, we love you, we appreciate you. You can feel free to shout yourself out in the comments. Let us know where you're connecting in from. As you see, there are folks that are already repping their city and repping their area. Of course, Chicago's always in the house. Brooklyn, all 5 boroughs are always in the house. Oregon, we see, is in the house today. And so we, again, appreciate you being here. And we know that you will receive something powerful today. So with that said, let's get into the announcement so we can move forward with the meditation, the music, and the message. Every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we gather together in prayer. It is what we call the Momentum Prayer Call. It's a way to keep the momentum going in your week as we create a powerful momentum on Sundays. It's a way to reestablish the momentum in the middle of your week if you need to. But it is always a powerful time. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it is very powerful. We share a reading on that day, usually from the Daily Word, and then we will be led in prayer by either myself, PY, or one of the prayer champions. All the information is here on your screen, and if you're on our mailing list, you'll get this in your email every week, so it's easier to access and get to. But call the number, enter the access code, and wait, and we get started. As you also see, there's a playback number. We do record every prayer on Wednesday, so you can access the most recent prayer right now by calling in that playback number and entering the access code and waiting, and the most recent prayer will play. That I think is a wonderful resource, a wonderful tool. We have lots of free tools and things like this available. This is one of them, and we pray that you take advantage of it.
Yes. Add that to your spiritual practice. Open your eyes and access that playback number.
Yes, absolutely. Now, we, being a spiritual center, a church that believes in prayer, we also know that you may have a prayer request, and so you can send that prayer request in to prayer champions at celebrationsc.org. That's received by me and PY and all of our prayer champions. We hold and know the truth with you. We are holding the highest watch on a daily basis. However, we know that many of us just have specific things going on. Maybe you're seeking prayer for a loved one or a friend, whomever it may be. Send it and release it. Send it and release it. Know that you are casting that burden on the mind of God and going free. Oh, wow. This is the last Sunday that I will be talking to you about the 2022 Jumpstart. This is something that we do every year at the end of the year. I love supporting as many people that are interested and willing in planting the seeds in this year to have a powerful new year. Now, we begin at this time of year because we need to start early. And part of the reason that we need to start early, in truth, because of the way the law works, it's always in operation. Yes, you could start on December 31st, right? But what I know to be true is so many people have stops and starts, right? You have the best of intentions, but it just doesn't work out that way. And so this is giving you time for your stops and starts. But more importantly, what we're doing, what we do each session, and we're digging and diving in deeper this year, is with the 30-day mental diet. We also recognize that as we've lived throughout the year, we may have adopted certain patterns of thought and ways of being that don't serve us, that we weren't really aware of. And what the 30-day mental diet does is bring us back to that awareness and say, oh, wait a minute, I forgot who I really am. I forgot the power that I really possess. I forgot the possibility that I truly possess. I forgot what type of life is really possible for me, right? And so the 30-day mental diet really supports you in doing that. This is something that I come back to every year for the past 10 years, I think it is now. I come to the 30-day mental diet every October, and I take myself through that process to remove mental cobwebs, right? Wipe my windshield clear, right? then I can see clearly, then I can hear clearly, and know exactly how to move forward in the new year. So there's still time to register. We begin on this Thursday. I'm excited. Folks have been registering daily, and there's still plenty of spaces available. But if you would like to join us, you have to register by this Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Registration closes, and then we begin on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. It is a online class. It'll be happening via Zoom, and so once you register, all of those details will be emailed to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But I look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be a powerful time, as always.
Yes, yes.
As always. Next Sunday is God Talk Sunday, November 21st. God Talk Sunday happens every third Sunday, and what happens on that Sunday is we hold a session where there are no questions that are off limits. After service, you bring your questions, you bring your concerns, you bring your challenges, whatever they may be, and we support you in applying spiritual law and principle to those challenges, right? We support you in understanding how New Thought principles apply and how to make use of them in the real world. As I love to say, many times, folks, I think you may have a Pastor Greg, Pastor Yolanda, you don't know my life, right? This stuff sounds good. This stuff is wonderful. But, I got some real things going on. So please tell me, how do I make use of these tools for these real situations? And so we're happy to do that. We also know that there are many of us who you're unlearning so many things that you learned in the past, either through previous religious experiences, from your family, from just your culture even. And while you want to embrace these truths and these principles, there's a navigation that's required, and we help to bring you on across that bridge.
Absolutely, and it's not just undoing the religious experience. It could be trauma that we are releasing, and that
Real
we're
talk.
Understanding and how to process it and move through it. And so even if your question isn't answered, your question is answered, because we're all one mind. When we come together on Sunday, you have to be in the room.
Yeah.
To receive the benefit of supporting others and being supported in receiving answers to your questions. This is something, before there was a door opening to CSC, that we knew we would do.
Yeah.
And it has been beneficial to us and those who attend. So please join us on November 21st.
Yes. And as you see, the Zoom link and password are sent via email. So that's in our weekly email that goes out on Friday. So for those of you, our first-time guests, if you're hearing about this and this interests you, this would be a reason for you to join our mailing list. And that information you will be seeing again during our broadcast on how to join our mailing list. As a reminder, we are closed on Thanksgiving weekend, as we do each year. So next Sunday will be the last Sunday that we will stream live for November. And then the following Sunday, we will not be streaming live. So we encourage you to enjoy yourself, use that time in whatever way you see fit, however you're choosing to observe the holiday and the holiday weekend. We know that it will be joyful and safe. And that completes our announcements for this week. And so we can move into the meditation.
Yes. I have been looking forward to meditating with everyone. As I think about this month's affirmation, all is well, just those 3 words, you begin to sit differently and breathe differently and open to possibility in ways that you may not have experienced before. Experience is beyond thinking. Experience is moving through your body, moving through your breath, moving in through and as Mother, Father, God. And so we call it the meditation experience because we are beyond thinking about it. We are living it and it living us. This connection, we read all the words on the page, but do we feel God alive and well within us? It doesn't mean that experiences on the outside aren't challenging. It means that at the core of our being, there is a knowing, there is a feeling. We go past the fear, doubt, and worry. we allow the breath to take us deeper into the center where all is well. And so, in preparation for this meditation, let's go ahead and create a posture, an openness, a willingness for all is well. And that means that we're not sitting forward, we're not leaning too far back as if we're resisting and in opposition to life. As PG said, we are here to just experience life moving through us. So allow the shoulders to relax over the hips and plant the palms on the tops of the thighs. Go ahead and notice where your glutes are sitting. Are you sitting up on one side or the other? Go ahead and relax. Seated upright in a chair or on your bed, on a sofa, wherever you find yourself, just relax. Take one glance around the room. And we take this time to prepare our body and our mind so that we can bring our focus now, not to the outside, but to God on the inside. Now, close your eyes and allow the breath to travel to its destination, its origin, its place of infancy, the belly. You see, babies breathe correctly. They do full belly breathing. And isn't it interesting to know that belly and breath and baby all go together in understanding all is well? We had an origination point of breath and knowing. Babies have it, and now let us go back to it. Notice the breath. Wherever it is, no judgment. And begin to relax more fully with each round of breath. Let's just notice for now. Beautiful. The breath is one thing that can flow on its own, or we can have control over it. And so we use our ability to control the breath to send it low into the belly. And as we drop the breath down, it signals the mind that it can relax, that the body doesn't have to be on hyper alert, and that we can be present with the breath now. So go ahead and place the right hand on the low belly. And you're going to breathe into the low belly on the exhale. On the inhale. Inhale into the low belly. Fill up the low belly. Hold it there. And nice slow count of 4 on the exhale. Sigh it out as the belly draws back towards the spine, emptying all of that air. Inhale. Full breath, no holding the belly in. Making room for more, all is well. Hold it there. And now sigh it out. Count to 4. Belly draws towards the spine. Hand follows. We empty. Inhale into the low belly now. Up through the rib cage. No collapsing, making room for more breath. Hold it there. Relax the jaw and sigh it out. Again, belly draws towards the spine. And let's repeat that. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage. Hold it there. Relax the jaw and sigh it out. Following that same path in through the low belly, up through the rib cage, now up through the heart. Our breath is 3 parts. It's nice and long and even. This is how we know all is well when we're fully breathing. Hold it at the top. And sigh it out. In through the low belly, all the way up through the heart. You notice the breath and you know the silence that follows the inhale and the exhale. Just notice. Hold it at the top. Sigh it out. Now plant both palms down. And let's practice this full breath. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, up through the heart, holding at the top. Now this time, close the lips and exhale through the nose. This is what full breathing feels like. Not high up on the chest, not raising the shoulders, not tensing against life, but breathing knowing that all is well. All is well on the inhale and all is well on the exhale. Let's send this vibration, this prana, this energy into our feet now. Keeping the breath nice and long and easy. Maybe you raise the heels or maybe you wiggle the toes. Stop the movement and release the feet now. As we live, move, and have our being in all is well, we allow our feet to be planted in the fertile soil of all is well. Energy flows up through the soles of our feet, across the ankles. Relax the ankles. The calves and the shins can be tense and tight, but we relax. We send the breath there, the energy there. Relax the shins and the calves. Energy flows across our knees, and we signal that we are flexible, that we are open, and that we know all is well. Relax the knees. Energy flows across the thighs, the hamstrings, and the glutes. If you feel any tension there, breathe into it and relax the thighs, the hamstrings, and the glutes. All we do is return to our breath again and again. And the breath never fails us. It is always there to remind us all is well. So we experience the breath and this connection as we surrender the lower half of our body. That energy that is gathered at the base of the spine now travels upward. A clear path along the chakra system, so that we can activate the energetic field of well-being. Energy flows up, and we exhale and breathe into it. Up, 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 and out the crown of our head. We connect and we gather. We release the doubt and the worry, and we tap into the vibration and field of plenitude, of gratitude, of all is well. Unobstructed, we allow that energy to flow back down through the crown, across the third eye, the throat chakra, across the shoulders. It's as if we feel warm hands relaxing our shoulders, telling us it's all right, all is well. It flows down our arms and out our fingertips. Just imagine yourself as an open channel for more goodness, more breath, more ease, more all is well. If you would like, you can turn the palms up to receive more without tensing the body, or turn the palms down to ground. Go ahead and scan one last time, noticing anywhere that needs more love and breath. Send it there now. I will monitor the time. You just enjoy the inward journey. If the mind wanders, it's okay. We are grateful for a mind that has the ability to think, and a mind that we can bring back to the truth that all is well. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your experience. The next time you hear my voice, it will be to signal our easy return. And for now, relax in. All is well. With our eyes closed, we just enjoy how good it feels to remember our connection to God, to each other, and to this vibration of all is well. With our eyes closed, we notice the relaxation in our body. We notice the relaxation in our mind. And we can bring ourselves back to this vibration anytime we choose, simply by pausing to notice and to breathe and to affirm all is well. All is well in my mind. All is well in my body. All is well in my affairs. All is well in my world. With that, let's slowly begin to wake the body after its time of replenishment. Our cells feel more alive and purposeful. And so if the palms are turned up, we turn them down. And nice long inhalation. Inhale, drawing the shoulders up by the ears, just to stretch. And release the shoulders back and down as the breath follows. Inhale up. Again, filling up from the low belly all the way up to the top. Shoulders back and down as we release the breath. Last time. Filling up from the low belly all the way up to the top. Shoulders relax back and down. Now bring the palms together at heart center. Lightly touching the thumbs into the sternum, that little bony ridge right there in the center of the chest. We sometimes guard against our heart being open from fear, doubt, and worry. We touch there so that it may open. Bow your chin to your fingertips as we notice the beating of the heart and the ease of the breath. The elongation at the base of the neck and the spine. And how the breath has been operating this whole time on our behalf. Slowly flutter the eyes open. Nice easy gaze, no strain on the eyes. We're so relaxed now. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze, keeping it soft, knowing that all is well. Release the breath. Namaste.
Yes, all is well. All is well. This centering thought for our meditation is so wonderfully appropriate as we are in our series for this month, and still I'm grateful. And to access that awareness, you have to be able to access this knowing of all is well. Thank you, PY, for guiding us.
You're welcome.
Back to that absolute knowing, back to our center. So we're going to continue with our series this week today that I'm excited about the message that we have in store. But before we get into the message, we're going to hear from Soul 21. So I'll see you on the other side.
Can you hear the knocking?
Can you hear the knocking?
Knocking at your door.
Knocking at your door.
Can you hear life calling?
Can you hear life calling?
Calling you to more.
Calling you to more.
Open the door to life.
Open the door to
Don't
life.
you be afraid.
Don't you be afraid.
This is how your dreams come true.
This is how your dreams come
How your life will change.
How your life will change.
Welcome them in.
Welcome them in.
Welcome them in.
Welcome them in.
They are
They
angels.
are angels.
Sit from beyond.
Sent from beyond.
All of life
All of life
is a movement.
is a movement toward our wholeness.
All of life
All of life
is a movement
is a movement toward our wholeness.
Can you hear the knocking? Oh.
You hear the knocking.
Don't run away.
Don't you run away.
Can you hear life calling?
You hear like calling.
The call of a new day.
All of a new day.
Open the door to life.
Open the door.
Don't be afraid, no, no, no.
Be afraid.
This is how your dreams come true.
How your dreams
How your life will change.
life will change.
Welcome to me.
Welcome to me.
Welcome to me. They are in the air. God's angels. All of life is a movement. All of life is a movement. All of life is a movement. All of life. So when you know this truth and you live this truth, then you can sing welcome to me. Oh, you can welcome to me. They are in the air. God is in from behind. Oh, now I am living abundantly. Living in complete prosperity. Now I am free to be all me. I'm living in the flow of life. After I've opened the door and welcomed them in now, I am living abundantly, living in complete prosperity. Every area of my life, now I am free to be all me. In the flow of life. Yeah, yeah. Now I am free. Oh, now I am free. Na, 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 na. In the flow of life. Now I am living. Yes. Now I am living. Now I am. I thought I was living before, but now I am living. In the flow of life. Now I am living. Yes. 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 Now, 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 in the flow of life. All of life is a movement. That setback, that closed door, that disappointment, what you may not realize now, but you will realize later as you look back, that was the very thing that moved you to the thing that you really wanted. That's why we sing all of life is a movement. All of life is a movement. Is a movement. The principle of rhythm teaches us that life never stops moving. Life is always flowing. There are times in our life where we feel stuck. There are times in our life where we feel like our back is against the wall. There are times in our life where it seems like this thing is fixed, but that is not the truth of life. The truth of life is that life is moving, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving, moving, it's moving, it's moving, it's a movement. All of life is a movement. All of life is a movement. Picture in your mind that problem moving. Picture in your mind that challenge moving. Picture in your mind that difficulty moving. Picture in your mind that dis-ease moving. Moving, moving, moving. Moving, moving, moving. Moving, moving, moving. Moving, moving, moving. movement toward our wholeness. It's moving.
Toward our wholeness.
All of life
Is a movement toward our wholeness.
all of life.
All of life is a movement toward our wholeness.
So it is. So it is.
Lord have mercy. I was just saying to PY, this is good. This is good. I don't remember all the details of that. So I got to experience it with each and every one of you, and that just blessed me in a beautiful and powerful way. Thank you, Soul 21, for that powerful song. Of course, that is one of those songs that anchors us here at CSC. It's, for me personally, just a song that reminds me so much as a songwriter. What happens for me is that as I come into a great awareness of a spiritual truth, I tend to crystallize it in song. And so that song came out of a moment of deep inspiration and beautiful awareness of what that line meant to me, which comes from the Tao Te Ching, and we'll talk a little bit about that and a little more in the sermon today. Well, hello again. Good morning. Yes, it still is morning. It's good to see you all. I am happy to be here, and I'm happy to be teaching and preaching this sermon series, and still I'm grateful. Let's get into it because we have some wonderful things to talk about. Now, last week, I started with the sermon, The Spiritual Power of Gratitude. And what I said last week in that sermon is just like you think of prayer as spiritual power and visualization as spiritual power and the words and affirmations you speak as spiritual power and forgiveness as spiritual power, gratitude is also spiritual power. And I went on to say that the spiritual power of gratitude is powered by law. And one expression of this law is the law of non-resistance. And so we talked a bit about what the law of non-resistance is and why it's so important. The moment that sticks out for me from that sermon was understanding the reading from the text working with the law, understanding that non-resistance is what creates friction in our life. And so often we think that life is the thing that causes friction, but it's actually our approach to life. And so understanding that gratitude is spiritual power, we can now begin to use it in powerful ways, knowing that we don't want to live in this space of friction and constriction. So as I also shared, this month we're looking at gratitude beyond being nice and beyond being kind. I shared as children, we all learn someone gives you something, what do you say? Right? And so we learned that gratitude was about being nice. At the same time, we're going beyond transactional ways we've learned to engage in gratitude. Because again, because of that, we developed this idea that I can be grateful or say thank you when I receive something from someone or I receive the thing that I wanted. And so I say thank you. It's a transaction. And also we're looking at gratitude beyond the conditional ways we've learned to express gratitude. Because what I know to be true is that it's very easy to be grateful when things are going good, right? It's very easy to write things in your gratitude journal and do various gratitude practices when your business is booming, right? When you're in that loving relationship, when your kids are acting right, when you just got a big promotion or a big raise at work. Add any good thing you desire to this list, you name it. Right? It's easy to practice gratitude in those circumstances when everything is going good. But the true practice of gratitude and appreciation is learning to access this space of gratitude, to access this knowing in the midst of a storm, in the midst of an unwanted situation, in the midst of the contrast that is pointing you, if you pay attention, to what it is that you truly desire. And so only someone who practices gratitude unconditionally, gratitude in all things, can affirm with confidence, nothing but good can come from this, or all of life is a movement toward our wholeness, or the song we heard last week, I bless it and let God take control, right? Only someone that can do this. And, I was reminded this idea, nothing but good can come from this. Joseph Murphy, a very profound and well-known New Thought teacher, may have written the book, Only Good Can Come Out of This. But personally, I learned the lived power of this affirmation through our prayer champion and CSC member, Darla Ebanks, right? When she shared with me the experience of watching her building burning down, and later learning that one of her beloved tenants that was in that building died in the fire. And in the midst of that, she affirmed, nothing but good can come from this. That building that I'm referring to is the building that later became our home as CSC for a beautiful amount of time when we were there on Franklin Avenue. That building now, she is transformed into this that space into a wonderful gallery. And many of you know our CSC member Nancy Lalonde recently held her gallery showing there, and Darla's artwork is there. There are CSC members that are tenants now in that building. And so much good has come out of that moment. But it is only someone who understands and can access this place of gratitude in all things that then can say something like, nothing but good can come from this. This is gratitude in all things. And so I was reminded of something that Reverend Ike used to say, one of his famous phrases. He has many of them. Right? Like, get your butt out the way. But, B-U-T, right? So many times I would do this, but, or, I could have this, but nothing but good, right? We get that our butt out of the way. That's one thing he used to say. But another one that I love that he used to say is, you can't lose with the stuff I use. And so today I say, you can't lose with gratitude. Because this is the mindset that I'm talking about. This knowing that I'm talking about, this is the thing that reminds you that life is fluid, that life is malleable. It reminds you that what you see and what you are experiencing right now can turn to good. But that turning requires our knowing. That turning requires our shift in consciousness. Remember, now this is principle, right? And this is important for us to understand. Remember that God is divine substance, right? God is not a being that's bestowing good things to you and me. God is not a being that's saying, oh, she prayed the right way, so I will now give her these things. Oh, he affirmed the right way, so I will now give him these things. Right? Oh, that person was nice today. This person wasn't nice today. So I'm going to take away that. That's not how God works. God is divine substance, right? That can become anything and everything. And so this divine substance, what does it do? It fills the molds we give it through the patterns of our belief. That word pattern is very important. So often we want to change our thought and change our belief for like a couple days, right? But we still have a pattern, right? There's still a whole mold that exists. And so divine substance fills the mold we give it. How do we create the mold? Through patterns of thought, through the dominant patterns of our thought and belief. So what does gratitude do? Gratitude creates molds in our minds. Gratitude creates molds that expect good. Gratitude creates molds that are not easily swayed by outer conditions, because you know that conditions change all the time. I put it in my gratitude this week because it was just a beautiful experience and reminder for me on Friday. Woke up, most of you remember if you're here in New York, it was raining on Friday. It was like dark and cloudy. And, one of the things here being home and working from home, I like to use sunlight all day, right? I don't like to turn on lights if I don't have to. But it got so dark that, we had to turn on the lights, right? We couldn't rely on the beautiful sunshine that beams into our home. But then later in the day, before I knew it, all of the rain was gone. and all of the clouds were gone, and we had abundant sunshine. And we didn't need the use of lights anymore until the sun actually went down. Now, why do I love that? Because that is a physical reminder in nature, reminding me of the truth of life. Again, this is why I say gratitude creates molds in our minds, and we're not easily swayed by outer conditions, because conditions change all the time. Remember, you are the sky, not the weather. Yes, the weather changes all the time, but you're the sky. And gratitude is what puts you in this space. And so then from that place and from that knowing, you can't lose with gratitude. And so I want to share with you a story. This is a story something that I experienced that came back to mind for me this week. And I know that I've shared this story in class. I don't know that I've shared it in a sermon, but I'm seeing this moment differently in light of this sermon series, in light of what we're talking about as gratitude. And just as I shared Darla's experience, right, of being able to affirm nothing but good can come from this in the midst of an awful situation, I want you to understand what gratitude really does and why you can't lose with gratitude. Now, in my adult working experience, I have experienced layoffs twice, right? And in each time, I can say, more so in hindsight, that I'm grateful to have experienced those layoffs, right? They taught me something very profound, right? The first layoff, I was pretty young and naive and just didn't really consider, what a layoff looks like or what it could look like. I was working in the .com industry, which was booming and thriving in the late 90s and in the early 2000s. But then that bubble burst, right? And so we went from experiencing this huge IPO, and we had all of these stocks, to watching our stock price go from hundreds of dollars down to $2-3, right? It was amazing to experience that. And ultimately that led to layoffs. I was laid off in the second round. Fast forward to another organization that I was working with, and a year after 9/11, a certain portion of the staff was laid off because there just wasn't funding there to continue to support the staff. And so, again, grateful for those experiences. And so after that second layoff, I decided to work with an agency and work as a consultant for this tech firm that had contracts with lots of organizations and businesses around the city. One of the things that I loved about it was it gave me flexibility. So I could work 5 days a week if I wanted to. I could work 3 days a week. They would, send me emails with opportunities and jobs that were coming up or that were needed, and I could say yes or no. Also, what I loved is by working a minimal hours each week, I also was able to get health insurance through this tech firm. So it was a really awesome thing for me because I was working on other stuff and had some music opportunities and producing and writing. So it gave me the time to continue to work in IT, but also continue to work as a musician. So I love that. I love the flexibility. And so eventually, after doing a few different contracts and kind of working in different places, which was fun, one day I'm working at the Big Apple Circus, the next day or next week I'm at the American Kennel Club, and then a couple weeks later I'm working for an interior design firm, right? And so finally there was an opportunity that came at Wired magazine. And I jumped on it. It was wonderful. I got I would be the IT support for Wired magazine in New York. Wired is actually based in San Francisco, but the New York office, they needed IT support. And so I jumped in and went to work, right? It was wonderful. So had a good time at Wired. Things were moving wonderfully, and I had been there for a year. And after that time, one day, the publisher at the time of Wired, he comes into my office. Hey, Greg, can we talk? I'm like, sure. And so he begins to essentially tell me that my services were no longer needed. And it was a little strange, just a little strange in the way that he was sharing it with me, because first he seemed to be saying that there was an issue with my work, right? That somehow there were certain members of the team that had some issues with me, or how I was working, or how my responses, and that was news to me. So that was interesting, because generally speaking, right, when there's something going on, if there's a performance issue, you have a conversation, come up with a remedy, and then of course maybe if it's not changed after that, then you would move on to something else. But this hadn't been communicated to me. This also hadn't been communicated from the account executive at the agency that I was working through. So this really caught me by surprise. But then additionally, he was saying that there wasn't enough money to continue the contract. So I really didn't know which to believe. It all seemed strange, but I knew that, because I work for this agency, I could be moved at any time. And I also knew that because I work through this agency, I will be moved to another assignment, and it's all good. So because it was strange, I immediately reached out to my account exec at the agency, and I said, hey, just have a conversation with Drew. He's telling me the contract is over. It seems kind of ambiguous, because he seems to be saying there's an issue with me and my work performance, but he's also saying that there's not money in the contract. My account executive was shocked and surprised. They do follow-ups. They make sure that the people that they're sending into each organization is doing well. So she was very surprised, and nothing had been communicated to her. So long story short, after she said, let me do some investigation. She said, go ahead, do whatever you need to do in terms of finishing up for the day. I'll get back to you. And so I hear back from her, and I get some new information. And what I find out from her is that there's someone in San Francisco who was my counterpart in San Francisco. And this gentleman was moving to New York and wanted to continue to work at Wired. So what they had decided to do was to end my contract and remove me so that they could place him in the position. They would no longer have to pay for my contract. He's already an employee. They would continue to pay him. And so instead of saying that, right, there was now this conversation about something was wrong with my work performance, and also a conversation about not being able to afford me, right? So y'all see what's going on here, right? This was problematic. And of course, I was upset. I was disappointed and I was upset. And it made sense because I'm talking to Drew, and it just, what he was saying, it just wasn't adding up. And it seemed really weird. And he was kind of, his demeanor was strange. And I just couldn't figure it out, but I'm listening and receiving the information. And so I had an opportunity, right? I could get upset, right? I could go to Drew and tell him that I know what's really going on and I know what you're really doing. I could have sat in feeling and being hurt simply because I had developed relationships with everyone here, and developed relationships with him, and had gone above and beyond, and done work after hours, and took on additional projects outside of regular work hours. And so I felt like I was an integral part of the team, and so it hurt on a certain level. And so I had opportunities to sit in all of that. But again, I was given the rest of the day to finish up what I needed to finish up, and prepare to leave. Now, also being in IT, right, I had lots of great control, right? I could have destroyed things, I could have erased things, I could have locked folks out of certain servers, or locked out access. Unfortunately, these are things that happen. I'm aware of these things happening in other organizations, right? I didn't do any of those things. And what's interesting to me is what I did do. And it's interesting to me in the context of this moment and what we're talking about with gratitude, because I never really saw this in the way that I'm seeing it now. So I just give you another piece of information which is important here. So as I said, I was working directly with Wired Magazine. Wired is based in San Francisco. There's an office in New York, and Wired Magazine is owned by Condé Nast Publications. So that's where the New York office is. Condé Nast publishes other wonderful magazines, right, like Vogue. So I'm in that Condé Nast building working for Wired, providing support for Wired, but Condé Nast has its own IT department. And that IT department is the IT department that supports all of the other magazines, right? All the New Yorker, Golf Digest at the time, and Lucky Magazine at the time, Architectural Digest. And so because of that, there were a few times that I had to interact with the IT department for the building, right? Because they controlled certain aspects and certain access that I needed to negotiate and make sure that Wired had that access. We only, interacted a few times. It was always cordial. It was always nice. And so in the midst of this, in the midst of me finding out that, this person who came to me to tell me that I'm being let go wasn't being fully honest, wasn't being forthright, someone who I thought I had a relationship with that would have allowed at least him to just keep it real, right? I'm realizing that there's an unjust practice here. I'm realizing that I could potentially even sue if I wanted to really go down that road, or at least look into that. I'm in that moment, and the thought came to me, go see Victor and Jill, who are the managers of the IT department for Condé Nast, and just thank them. Let them know that you're leaving, and thank them because they have been very helpful. The times that you needed to interact with them, it was always cordial, it was always wonderful. They always responded to your emails right away. The few times that you had to go to their office to have a conversation, it was always good, right? Just go and tell them thank you. That's literally the thought that came to my mind. It blows my mind as I look at it from this lens now. And so that's what I did. I went down to their floor, and I went to see Victor and Jill. And I said, hey, just wanted to let you all know my contract is ending today. And, I just wanted to say thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you all. Thank you for being supportive, anything that I needed. Thank you for always responding. I really appreciate it. And so Victor and Jill were like, wait, what's going on? What do you mean you're leaving? And I said, well, I don't really know. I don't know all the details. There's stuff going on, but I don't really want to get into that. I just wanted to let you know that, you won't be seeing me. Someone else will be in my place at a certain point. And I just want to let you know that I appreciate our interactions. And so Victor and Jill looked at each other and they said, come here on Monday morning. We have a space for you. I didn't go to Victor and Jill looking for a job. I wasn't thinking, even at that point, I wasn't thinking about what my next step was. I wasn't thinking about, let me go see them and I can show Drew and I'll be working here anyway. I wasn't thinking about any of that. I literally was just wanting to show appreciation for this wonderful interaction and this wonderful collegial work experience that I had with my colleagues. And I was really surprised, but I said, wow, okay, right? And it was a perfect fit because I didn't know that they were also using consultants through the same agency that I was working with. So it was an easy move. I didn't have to do any new paperwork or any of that stuff. And I started that Monday, now working for a larger organization, right? Working for Condé Nast as a support representative, or as desktop support actually, in IT for all of Condé Nast, right? So now I'm getting to interact with folks at other magazines. I'm getting the opportunity to interact with people like Anna Wintour, right? I'm getting the opportunity to hang out with folks at GQ, right? I'm getting all of these wonderful opportunities, and that went well. And as a result of that, a new opportunity came up. An opportunity at the New Yorker. And at the New Yorker needed a similar type of support that I was providing at Wired, because they had, the New Yorker had someone that was on site, available to them at all times. And it needed to be someone that could work independently, but had a lot more knowledge beyond just regular desktop support, because I had to provide administrative support, server support, all kinds of wonderful things. And so that opportunity came up. Who was the first person that they thought of? Victor and Jill called me in their office. There's an opportunity. We think you would be perfect for it. You see what happened? See, I had the opportunity to be pissed off, to be upset, to even be litigious as it related to Wired Magazine and as it related to the publisher, the then publisher of Wired Magazine. But what I couldn't see was what was actually happening. Right? There's another one of those phrases, rejection is redirection. So yes, technically I was being rejected. Yes, technically I was being wronged, but I was actually being moved into something that I didn't even realize. And thank God there was something within me, because this is what's so beautiful. This wasn't a conscious thought. It wasn't like I was consciously saying, oh, I'm going to kill him with kindness. Or, oh, let me go and show a good face and go shake their hand. Or let me slide my resume over to this other department. It was none of that. It was literally gratitude and appreciation. And out of sitting in that space, even when I could have been sitting in the story, right? Byron Katie says that gratitude is who we are without the story. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Instead of sitting in the story, I accessed gratitude. And something beautiful and profound came out of it. Not just the initial position in desktop support, which, by the way, that also ended up, more money, was beautiful, right? All of that. But then the position with the New Yorker, that was actually then a full-time position. So it was no longer a contract consultant position. So now I have better healthcare insurance, right? Now I have 401k, right? Now I have paid vacations, all of that wonderful stuff, right? But it all started. The first domino was Drew coming into my office saying, hey, Greg, can we talk? And I can guarantee you that had I not accessed that space of gratitude, as I had not been able to access that, which, by the way, the only way I could access it is because of a gratitude practice that already existed in my life, right? There was something greater within me that I had been focused on and spending time with that showed up when I needed it. This is why I said last week, yes, we always need a spiritual practice, but it shows up in time of need, right? It wasn't in that moment like, oh, let me figure out my gratitudes now. Let me pull out a sheet of paper and start writing what I'm grateful for, right? What was in me came out in the time of crisis. And so this is an outpicturing of what this thing called gratitude really does, why you can't lose with gratitude. Now, we heard the song, and the song is profound and beautiful, Toward Our Wholeness, which is inspired by a verse from the Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu thousands of years ago. That portion of verse 29, here it says, allow your life to unfold naturally. Know that it too is a vessel of perfection, just as you breathe in and breathe out. Sometimes you're ahead and other times behind. Sometimes you're strong and other times weak. Sometimes you're with people and other times alone. To the sage, all of life is a movement toward perfection. And when you dig deeper, and you look at the translation, this is the Jonathan Starr translation, and you look at that word that was translated to perfection, the full meaning of that word is not perfection as we think of it in the Western world and as we think of, everything is perfect, like all of life is perfect. It dots every I and crosses every T. No, that perfection means completion or wholeness. And so all of life, every experience, that seemingly random conversation, which was not something that I expected that day. Everything else about that day was normal until that moment. And there's a part of me, a part of you, as you've had experiences like this, that would say that that was an imperfect moment. Right? Everything else was perfect because it was normal. It was what I expected. It's what a workday was supposed to be and what I had come to know it to be. But actually, that moment was also a movement toward completion, a movement toward wholeness, my wholeness, because it moved me into a new experience. It moved me into a greater ability to support and take care of my family, right? It moved me into tapping into new skills, talents, and abilities that I didn't know I had, right? It moved me and it grew me. You can't lose with gratitude. And this idea of life being a movement toward our wholeness, it's this idea that there's something bigger going on. See, gratitude is the thing when you're in the circumstance, when you're in the storm, that will remind you. Gratitude is the thing that will remind you that there's something bigger going on when you're facing terrible circumstances, when you have been wronged, right? When you've lost a loved one, when you've lost your property or your building, right? When so many unwanted things happen. But it's gratitude that brings your heart and mind to this awareness that there's something bigger going on. My friend, you can't lose with gratitude. Gratitude is spiritual power, as we talked about last week. And I pray that you can see through this really small story the power of it. And so that's why we practice gratitude. And that's how we can live in this consciousness of, and still I'm grateful. Because I know what this power is. And still I'm grateful because I know that this gratitude will move this thing into a wanted thing. And still I'm grateful because I know I can't lose with gratitude. With that, I say amen, ashe. And so it is.
Ah, yes, yes. You cannot lose with the stuff you use, called gratitude. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Reverend Ike.
Yes, yes.
We are so grateful to be with you every Sunday.
Yeah.
Through the times that we find ourselves in, we find gratitude in our opportunity to serve and to be here with you and to remember this truth. We put on our gratitude glasses. We see through that lens. It doesn't mean that we don't see what's happening out there, right? It means that in spite of what's happening, we know the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so important that we get this principle.
Right.
We're not asking you to let go of how you feel about what's happening to you. PG had feelings.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in his feelings.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's that human aspect. We're not asking you to let go of that. That would be a bypass. What we're asking you to do is to understand that, hold that experience, and also know the truth. Because you can't lose with gratitude. Thank you, PG.
Yeah. There's so many, Lord, there's so many layers to this. The more I think about it, because I was moved into a better circumstance, but I'm thinking about also even the agency that I work through, because their contract ended with Wired, but their contract remained with me and increased, because once I get hired full time, they have to pay them. They have to be paid a certain amount of money essentially for recruiting me and putting me so see, this is the thing so often, and I invited you last week to read that chapter on the non-resistance from working with the law, because Hollowell talks about when you're working in non-resistance, this is not about being a doormat. Right. Like, yes, there's a part of me that was like, oh, this was unjust and I need to do this and I need to fight.
And you were right.
Right. Right. So I wasn't being a doormat, right? I wasn't allowing them to treat me any kind of way, but I recognized that I had a power there was a power working through me that was going to do something bigger, better, bolder, and more amazing, right, than what I could have done in my strength, in the strength of my rightness.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we do. We land at the side of being right, and we don't understand that there's something else going on.
Exactly.
Right? And so when we understand, oh, I could be right. I am right. Yeah. But I also know that there is a rightness operating underneath all things that is righting everything, that is moving it where it needs to be, that benefits me, and not only me, but my agency, that is everybody's going to benefit for this little adjustment from this rightness that is moving everything into its position.
Yeah.
And that's the end gratitude.
Yeah. That's the
right?
end gratitude.
We're not asking you to pretend. We're asking you to jump in to gratitude.
Yes. That's powerful. Ooh, so in this moment, it is time for giving. You see the information here on your screen. You've seen it throughout the broadcast. It's very easy to give here at CSC. You can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give, or you can text to give, 347-744-9500. Text your dollar amount to that number. There is a $10 minimum for text to give to cover the fees for that service. But more importantly, whichever way you choose to give what feels good. Give from feeling good, right? That's really it. Give from feeling good, right? Because that vibration, that vibration that knows that there's more than enough, that vibration that knows that freely I have received, and so freely I will give, and then freely I will receive again, and freely I will give, right? That vibration that knows that there's more than enough, every need will be supplied, right? To live an abundant life because you are God's child, right? That is what we give from. And when we give from that place, the blessings are inevitable. The blessings are just natural and normal. That must happen.
Right. It's just miraculous in that it's natural.
Yes.
It's just normal.
It's just normal.
It's just the way we flow.
Absolutely. And so from that knowingness, we affirm this powerful truth. All the money that I use returns to me multiplied. In a never-ending cycle. Of increase. And enjoyment. To that we say amen. Ashe. And so it is. And that's another shout out to Reverend Ike. That affirmation is an affirmation that I learned from Reverend Ike. And I'm grateful that we're able to use it and kind of create these roots and anchors, because we stand on the shoulders of so many powerful teachers. And specifically in this case, we stand on the shoulders of so many profound and powerful New Thought African-American teachers.
Absolutely. And we don't just wait till February to talk about them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are grateful and thankful to them, and we are also grateful and thankful to each and every one of you for your continued support, through your presence, through your streaming, for your continued support of CSC, through your giving. CSC is thriving. CSC is prospering. We are on a very good financial footing. We continue to be all throughout the pandemic. We know that is a direct result of the consciousness of prosperity that has been intentional since we opened our doors. Before we opened our doors, has continued throughout these 8, almost 9 years, and will continue, we believe, well beyond our lifetime. So I think we're at the end of service today, but know that we love and appreciate each and every one of you. Do something today that brings you joy, right? No matter what it is. If you have other stuff you have to do, work, find 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and do something that specifically brings you joy.
Right.
Live in that vibration.
It might just be a dance break.
Whatever it may be.
Whatever it may be. It might be that breath that feels so good that you got to take another one.
Right. So please enjoy your day, enjoy your Sunday, and we look forward to connecting with you on Wednesday in the Momentum Prayer Call. And if not on Wednesday, then of course we'll see you back here next Sunday for the completion of our series. And still, I'm grateful for God Talk Sunday. Again, there's a few more days to register for your 2022 Jumpstart. If you want to plant the seeds for the new year, if you want to do some visioning, and if you want to clear out those mental cobwebs so that you're clear and can hear and listen, so that your windshield is clear, so you can see when you're driving, then you want to join me, and we begin on Thursday evening. So with that, I think we're complete.
Yeah.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye for now.